what you think, what you telling your friends when you're talking about me. It's cool, you can say what you want to. I don't give a fuck what you think.
The tragedy of Jonestown. The sun was setting over the dense jungle of Guyana, casting long shadows over the People's Temple compound. For years, Jim Jones had preached about peace and utopia, but the harsh reality of his cult's isolation was beginning to show. The promise of a better life had deteriorated into paranoia and violence. When a group of defectors, including U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan, came to investigate the growing unrest in the camp, they were met with hostility. And Ryan was murdered before he could leave. It was then that Jones, seeing his world unravel, commanded his followers to drink from the poisoned Kool-Aid, a mixture of cyanide and fruit punch. The chilling call to revolutionary suicide rang through the air. Families, children, and elders alike drank the poison without hesitation, believing their deaths would fulfill Jones' twisted vision. The air was thick with the scent of death, and the ground, once teeming with life, was now littered with bodies. Over 900 lives were lost in one brutal evening, forever cementing Jonestown's place in the annals of history as one of the most horrific tragedies of mind control and mass suicide. The whispers of Jonestown's curse still echo across the jungle. Those who dare to visit the site report hearing faint voices on the wind, voices of the lost souls who fell victim to Jones' manipulation. Heaven's Gate, the final ascension. On a quiet evening in California, a group of 39 people made a solemn vow to ascend to the stars. Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, leaders of the Heaven's Gate cult, had promised their followers a salvation unlike any other. A journey to a distant spaceship waiting behind the Hale-Bopp comet. To reach this paradise, they would need to rid themselves of their earthly bodies, through suicide. As the cult members sat in their matching Nike sneakers, their bodies draped in identical black shirts and purple shrouds, they took a lethal dose of phenobarbital and vodka, believing it would bring them closer to their cosmic salvation. They believed their souls would be transported to the spaceship, leaving behind their mortal shells. The final moments were calm, almost peaceful, as they awaited their ascension. But what they did not know was that the stars would not come for them. Days later, their bodies were discovered, an eerie scene of synchronized death, their faces serene as if they had truly believed in their journey to the stars. The world was left to grapple with the chilling reality that Heaven's Gate had claimed 39 souls in the name of a delusional belief, leaving only their tragic story as evidence of their misguided faith. Om Shinrikyo, the dark side of enlightenment. In the heart of Japan's urban sprawl, Shoko Asahara's Om Shinrikyo cult had grown in both size and influence. His followers believed that he was the reincarnation of Jesus Christ and Buddha, and that their spiritual awakening would lead them to a new world order. But as the group's fanaticism deepened, the line between spiritual enlightenment and violence became blurred. In 1995, the cult carried out one of the most devastating acts of terror in Japan's history, the sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway. On the morning of March 20th, AUM members released the deadly nerve agent in 5 trains, killing 13 people and injuring over 1,000. The world was stunned. A group that had once preached peace was now responsible for one of the most horrific terrorist attacks the world had ever seen. But the true terror of Om Shinrikyo wasn't just in its attack. It was in the minds of the people it controlled. Some cult members were found in secluded underground lairs, where they believed their deaths would bring about the apocalypse and save humanity. The authorities dismantled the cult, but the echo of Asahara's twisted philosophy still lingers, leaving behind a haunting reminder of how far belief can lead one to the edge of madness. The Order of the Solar Temple, Shadows of the Apocalypse. Hidden in the remote corners of Switzerland, France, and Canada, the Order of the Solar Temple was a secretive and dangerous cult that merged New Age philosophy with apocalyptic beliefs. Led by Luc Joret and Joseph de Mombro, the cult preached that humanity was heading towards destruction, and only those who followed their teachings would survive. In 1994, the cult took their beliefs to a horrifying extreme. Members gathered in their homes, wearing ceremonial robes, and set their homes alight in synchronized mass suicides. 25 bodies were found in a charred house in Switzerland, while other members were discovered strangled or shot in France and Canada. 24 more followers died in a series of coordinated deaths across multiple countries, their spirits forever tied to the belief that the world would be cleansed. Despite investigations, the real reasons behind the cult's catastrophic end remain shrouded in mystery. The gruesome deaths were not just suicides but orchestrated murders, with some members being forced into compliance. Now, the once powerful cult is reduced to a grim legend, and the ruins of their final gatherings remain as reminders of a dark belief system that led to its own destruction. The movement for the restoration of the Ten Commandments of God, the ultimate deception. In Uganda, a cult known as the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God grew rapidly in the late 1990s under the leadership of Credonia Murind and Joseph Kibwetere. The group preached that God's commandments would guide them to eternal salvation, but their faith was twisted into something much darker, a doomsday prophecy that would lead to the death of hundreds. On March 17, 2000, the world was shocked by a horrific discovery. More than 700 bodies were found inside a church building, victims of a mass suicide. Many were poisoned, while others were burned alive. At first, it appeared to be a religious sacrifice, but as investigators uncovered more, they learned that the cult had brainwashed its followers into believing that the end of the world was near. The members had been led to their deaths under the false belief that their sacrifice would bring about a new world, one without suffering. What's even more chilling is the aftermath. Rumors spread of strange figures seen near the site, figures with glowing eyes, wandering as though still searching for their salvation. Some believe the cult's leaders still haunt the area, their spirits forever tied to the deception they crafted.